Imagine if the month you were born could reveal something profound about your life, your purpose, and even your future. Have you ever wondered if there's a greater meaning behind this simple date? In this video, we'll explore what the Bible has to say about the month of your birth and how it can be linked to your destiny. But don't think it's just a curiosity. Each month brings with it valuable lessons, challenges, and divine promises. What if I told you that understanding the biblical symbolism of your birth month could change the way you see your journey so far? Stay until the end and discover revelations that can transform the way you see yourself and your purpose in this world. January. Imagine being born in January, the first month of the year. A new beginning, a blank page that, as you may have already noticed, carries strong symbolism. But have you ever stopped to think that this could have a direct connection with one of the most impactful characters in the Bible? Samuel. Born in times of uncertainty, Samuel was a result of fervent prayer from his mother, Anna, who for years suffered from not having children. And this is the first key. January, like Samuel, represents renewed hope, the beginning of a mission. Have you ever wondered what mission you carry for being born in January? Think of Samuel, a child dedicated to divine service from birth. And now imagine that you too may be being called to something greater. It may not be obvious at first. After all, Samuel grew up in the temple, silent, observing, until one night everything changed. A voice called out to him, but he didn't recognize it right away. 3 times he heard his name until, guided by Eli, he understood. It was God who was speaking directly to him. The same doubt that Samuel felt that night may be hanging over you. Have you already identified the calling that has been guiding you? January, like the month of Samuel, invites you to listen. But how do you know if you're listening the right way? The answer is right there in the second part, where we explore more divine signs. Just as Samuel had to learn to listen, you too may be being tested on your perceptions. And perhaps what comes next will be even more revealing than you imagined. Are you starting to see how this story connects to your life? February. Born in February, the shortest month of the year, you may feel that things are happening quickly and intensely around you. But have you ever stopped to think that this could have a deep meaning in your life, as well as in Esther's story? Queen Esther, a courageous woman who, in the midst of uncertainty, changed the destiny of an entire people. Does your life also carry this hidden strength, waiting for the right moment to reveal itself? Esther was chosen to be queen, a prestigious position, but one that brought great challenges. When her people, the Jews, were about to be exterminated, she faced a decision that could cost her life. Speaking to the king without being summoned, something forbidden and risky. Now think, how many times have you found yourself faced with difficult choices where your courage was put to the test? February, like Esther, represents quick but essential decisions. It's a month that may seem short, but it brings with it moments that can change everything. Perhaps you were born with the same ability to act at the right time, with courage and purpose. Like Esther, you may be destined to make decisions that, although risky, have the power to transform your future and that of those around you. The most interesting, Esther did not know what would happen at the end of her journey, but her faith and courage guided her to success. Have you ever felt that pressure of not knowing what's next but still moving forward? What if February is the month that invites you to do this? Trust the unknown and act bravely. But wait, have you ever wondered why you were born in February? What could this be saying about your destiny? And more importantly, what comes next? Because as we'll see in the next part, there are even more secrets to uncover about your birth month, March. When March arrives, it brings with it the promise of renewal. For those born in this month, hope seems to flow like a river in rainy weather. Just like Job, a man who faced unimaginable challenges, your life can be a journey of endurance and faith. Have you ever stopped to think that, like him, you can have the ability to withstand the storms of life and still stand firm? Job, an example of integrity and faith, saw his life fall apart. He lost everything, his possessions, his children, and his health. However, even in the midst of suffering, he did not lose hope. March is a month that reminds us that even when everything seems lost, hope can flourish. And you? Have you ever been through a moment when everything seemed to be falling apart around you, but something inside you whispered to keep fighting? This month, marked by renewal, is an invitation for you to reflect on your own struggles and achievements. Job's resilience teaches us that no matter how dark the situation may seem, it is always possible to rise again. Throughout his story, Job never stopped believing that life could get better. Doesn't that sound familiar? We are often tested in our faith, and it is precisely in these moments that we need to remember our own strength. And here comes the intriguing part. Job's story doesn't end with his affliction. His patience and perseverance were rewarded. When you reflect on this, you realize that you are also in the middle of a journey, full of ups and downs, but with the certainty that the difficulties are just a chapter. Just like Job, you may have a rebirth waiting for you, a new chance to live. But the story doesn't stop there. What does March hold for you? And how do Job's lessons intertwine with those to come in the coming months? Because April brings with it a new dimension of transformation, and you won't want to miss this next chapter. April, the month in which freedom begins to take shape. Like the rebirth of nature, the story of Moses is a powerful testimony of liberation and transformation. When you think of Moses, you can't help but wonder, what does it really mean to be free? For those born in April, this quest for freedom can be a deeply personal and resonant journey. Imagine yourself in the shoes of Moses, a man who defied the chains of oppression from birth. He was destined for a great destiny, hidden in a basket in the waters of the Nile. This was the first act of resistance against a system that tried to control him. Have you ever felt this way? Imprisoned by circumstances, but with an inner fire that cries out for freedom? April is a reminder that, even in the most adverse situations, determination can lead us to new beginnings. Moses' trajectory is a narrative of courage, faith, and, above all, liberation. He faced a pharaoh, challenging the power of an empire. Just like him, we all have the ability to stand up and claim our freedom, even when it seems impossible. But what if I told you that the true path to freedom begins with choosing to free ourselves from our own internal limitations? And the story of Moses shows us that this journey is not easy. The challenges are real, but the reward is immeasurable. The crossing of the Red Sea symbolizes this passage between slavery and freedom. Do you remember a time in your life when you had to cross your own Red Sea? A difficult decision that required courage but led to a new life? As April progresses, it's essential to reflect on your own chains and how you can break free from them. Freedom is not just a goal, it is a state of mind. And just like Moses, each of us has a role to play in the pursuit of our own freedom. But the question remains, what happens after liberation? In May, the journey continues, revealing the courage of David, a warrior who faced giants. You'll want to follow this narrative, as it's a powerful reminder that freedom often comes with challenges we must face. Get ready, because each month brings us a new lesson, a new opportunity for growth. May is the month in which bravery comes to life. And who better to symbolize this than David? The story of this young shepherd who became king resonates in every heart, especially those born this month. Imagine yourself in the position of David, facing Goliath the giant. A battle not just physical, but an epic fight between courage and fear. Have you ever found yourself faced with a challenge that seemed bigger than you? David teaches us that even the smallest voices can resonate with the force of thunder. When David prepared to face Goliath, he didn't just lift a stone. He released the very essence of his faith and determination. With every step he took, he challenged not only the giant, but the doubt that resided in his heart and the minds of everyone around him. April may have been a month of liberation, but May brings the certainty that freedom must be defended. This is when many of us face the very giants in our lives. You may be thinking, but how can I find courage in the face of such daunting challenges? David shows us that true strength does not come from armor or weapons, but from unshakable faith in ourselves and in the mission we carry. When you are faced with adversity, ask yourself, what motivates me to fight? What stops me from moving forward? Each of us carries within us a spark of bravery that, when lit, can illuminate the darkest paths. As May progresses, David's journey also invites us to reflect on our own challenges. What are the Goliaths you need to face? What do you need to leave behind to move forward? David didn't just defeat a giant. He has become a symbol of hope for everyone who feels small in the face of adversity. And so, as David's story unfolds, his bravery inspires us to act. But the story doesn't end here. In June, we come across the wisdom of Solomon, who will teach us that true strength also lies in knowing when and how to fight. Get ready, as each month brings a new lesson that shapes our journey. June, when June arrives, it brings with it the promise of wisdom. And who better to personify that virtue than King Solomon? Born this month, he is remembered not only for his royalty, but for his ability to discern between right and wrong. Imagine yourself in your position, faced with a choice that could change everything. The famous story of the two mothers and the baby reveals not only the wisdom of Solomon, but also teaches us about the power of love and sacrifice. Solomon was faced with a monumental dilemma. Two women claimed motherhood of a child. Have you ever felt pressured to make a decision that would impact someone else's life? Solomon did not let himself be carried away by the emotion of the moment. He sought truth in the depths of the human heart. With the wisdom bestowed upon him, he proposed a surprising solution, dividing the child in half. And this is where the real miracle happens. The real mother, moved by love, immediately offered to give up her right, preferring to see her son live rather than be broken. This reaction not only revealed who the real mother was, but also illustrates that wisdom is often hidden in the most difficult decisions. Just like Solomon, you too can find clarity in the midst of confusion. When faced with dilemmas, ask yourself, what is most important? What truly values my life and the lives around me? As June progresses, Solomon's lessons continue to resonate. He teaches us that wisdom is not just knowledge, but a vital ability to understand and apply that knowledge with compassion. Each of us has the ability to be a Solomon in our own lives, facing complicated decisions with the light of reason and love. And as we prepare for July, a month that invites us to reflect on peace and prosperity, remember, wisdom is an ongoing journey. What lessons did you learn from Solomon? What will you do differently when faced with your own challenging decisions? The answers could very well shape the future you want. When July arrives, it is impossible not to remember the story of Paul, the apostle who symbolizes true liberation. Imagine yourself in the dusty streets of an ancient city, where a man named Saul of Tarsus fervently persecuted those who followed the way of Christ. Have you ever felt lost, like you're on a path that leads nowhere? This was Saul's life, until an extraordinary encounter would change everything. As he rode toward Damascus, a bright light burst from the sky, and a powerful voice asked, "Saul, why are you persecuting me?" This moment of revelation is a reminder that on our journeys, we may encounter forces that force us to reconsider our beliefs and actions. How would you react if faced with an undeniable truth? Saul's life was about to change radically, and yours could change at any moment too. After this transformative experience, Saul became Paul, the great defender of the faith. Not only did he find freedom in Christ, but he also became a herald of that liberation, traveling to distant lands to share the message of love and hope. Like Paul, we all face moments when we need to decide whether to continue on a familiar path or dare to move in a new direction. What would you choose? July reminds us that true liberation comes from within. What did you learn from the difficulties and struggles you faced? Paul's story is a powerful testimony that no one is beyond the reach of grace. Each of us can experience this transformation, regardless of where we are or what we have done. And as we approach August, reflect on how freedom manifests itself in your life. What steps can you take to free yourself from the chains that bind you? Paul's lessons invite us to look within and ask, what is really stopping me from living fully? Each of us' journey can be a story of resilience and transformation, And with each step, we are reminded that true freedom is a gift we must cultivate. August arrives, bringing to light the incomparable wisdom of Solomon, the king who stood out for his incessant search for knowledge and discernment. Imagine yourself in a room full of wise men, all attentive as a young king asks God not for riches or power, but for wisdom. Have you ever stopped to think about what you really value in your life? We often get lost in search of material goods, while true wealth lies in the wisdom we acquire along the way. Solomon, with his humble heart, received not only the wisdom he asked for, but also an abundance of riches and honor. This story invites us to reflect on our own priorities. What would you choose if you were before God? In a world full of voices and distractions, wisdom becomes a light in the midst of darkness. Each of us has the ability to become a Solomon in our lives, seeking to understand what is truly important. As we navigate August, we are challenged to consider, how can we apply wisdom to our daily decisions? Every choice we make is an opportunity to learn and grow. Think about a time when wisdom made a difference in your life. How can you remember this experience and allow it to guide your future actions? The story of Solomon is not just about an ancient quest for knowledge. It is an invitation to a continuous journey of learning. As the month progresses, reflect on the challenges you face and look for the wisdom in each one. Every obstacle is a chance to become stronger and wiser. And as September approaches, ask yourself, what can I do today to cultivate more wisdom in my life? Remember that true wisdom comes from humility and a willingness to learn. When looking at Solomon's legacy, we recognize that knowledge is a journey, not a destination. So, how can you be a wisdom seeker in your own story? September. As September approaches, we are invited to explore the heart of Abraham, a man whose faith transformed him into a patriarch and trustworthy role model. Imagine yourself under the stars, next to an Abraham who, on his journey, heard the voice of God calling him to leave everything he knew. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you hesitated to follow your own dreams? The story of Abraham is a powerful reminder that faith can take us to unimaginable places. God promised Abraham that he would be the father of many nations, even when it seemed impossible. His faith was not just about believing. It was about taking action. He faced challenges, doubts, and even criticism, but he remained steadfast in his trust in divine promise. As we reflect on this story, we are invited to consider, how can we cultivate a heart that trusts even in the face of uncertainty? September reminds us that true faith is not the absence of doubts, but the courage to move forward, even when the path seems cloudy. Think about a time when you had to take a leap of faith. How did this shape your trajectory? What did you learn from the experience? As this month progresses, allow the story of Abraham to inspire your own decisions and actions. How can you apply the confidence that Abraham had in your life? Every step we take, however small, is an opportunity to build our own legacy. What are you willing to leave behind to achieve your promises? October. When October arrives, we are transported to the fascinating story of Jose, a man whose dreams not only guided him, but also defied the adversity he faced. Imagine yourself in the shoes of Joseph, a young man who dreamed big, but whose brothers, instead of supporting him, betrayed him, selling him into slavery. Have you ever thought about what it would be like to have your dreams interrupted by those who should love you? Jose's story teaches us that, even in the worst situations, faith and resilience can transform betrayal into triumphs. Joseph was taken to Egypt, where he faced unimaginable hardships. But instead of letting it get him down, he used his experiences as fuel for his personal growth. Through each turn of events, he remained true to his dreams, and most importantly, true to God. This determination is something we can all learn from. When was the last time you were faced with an obstacle that seemed insurmountable? How did you react? Joseph's story invites us to reflect on our own lives. Sometimes we need to go through difficulties for our dreams to become reality. Joseph, after years of struggle, became the governor of Egypt and saved his family from starvation. What does this teach us? that often our greatest challenges are part of the divine plan to bring us to a position of influence and purpose. As October progresses, think about your own dreams. What obstacles are you facing, and how can you turn them into opportunities? Joseph not only survived, he prospered and made history. And you, how can you transform your difficulties into a story of overcoming? This month, allow Jose's story to inspire you to dream even bigger. Stay strong on your journey, even when times are tough. At the end of October, reflect. Which dreams will I cultivate, and which ones am I willing to pursue with faith, regardless of the circumstances? November. As November approaches, we are faced with a powerful theme, gratitude. And who better to teach us about this than Hosea? Imagine living in a time marked by the infidelity and disobedience of the people of Israel, where fidelity was a forgotten concept. Hosea was called by God to an unusual role, a mission that not only challenged his convictions, but also tested his heart. Hosea, as a prophet, was commanded by God to marry an unfaithful woman, Gomer. It may seem strange, but this union has become a powerful symbol of the relationship between God and his people. By seeing Gomer walk away repeatedly, Hosea learned that true gratitude goes beyond circumstances. It is a deep commitment to love and fidelity. When was the last time you felt betrayed or let down by someone? How did you react? This month, as we reflect on the story of Hosea, we are called to evaluate our own relationships. Gratitude is a state of mind that is often challenged by our experiences. How can we cultivate a grateful heart in the midst of hardship and betrayal? The answer lies in the perspective we choose to adopt. Hosea, even in the face of pain, maintained his love and commitment to Gomer. He didn't give up, and this teaches us that true gratitude is more than a feeling. It's a decision. When we practice gratitude, even in difficult times, we can transform our lives and our relationships. Throughout November, take time to reflect. What am I grateful for? What are the blessings I often overlook? In doing so, you will not only honor Hosea's memory, but you will also find a new perspective on your own life. What will start as an exercise in gratitude can turn into a radical shift in the way you see the world. Just like Hosea, who reminds us that love and faithfulness are fundamental, you too may discover that gratitude, even in the most challenging situations, is the key to true peace. December. We've reached December, a month enveloped in twinkling lights, festive songs, and a feeling of renewed hope. During this period, we celebrate not only the end of another year, but also one of the most significant moments in history, the birth of Jesus Christ. Imagine yourself in a small village called Bethlehem more than 2,000 years ago. The sky is filled with stars, and an event that would change the course of humanity is about to happen. Mary, a young woman, received a heavenly visit. The angel Gabriel brought a message that defied all logic. She would give birth to the Savior. We can imagine the mixture of fear and disbelief she must have felt. However, your faith and willingness to embrace this miracle teaches us about the importance of trusting God, even when circumstances seem impossible. Have you ever stopped to think about how many times you too felt faced with a challenge that seemed insurmountable? As Mary prepared for this great event, Joseph, her fiancé, faced his own dilemma. He had to decide between doubt and faith, between logic and belief in something greater. This month, we are invited to reflect on the choices we make when faced with the unknown. How do we react when we are called to believe in something we cannot see? The birth of Jesus in a stable, far from any comfort, teaches us that miracles often come in unexpected packages. In the midst of simplicity, true greatness can emerge. As we celebrate this Christmas, may we remember that life's greatest gifts are not always wrapped in colored paper, but rather in the experiences of love, faith, and hope. December invites us to celebrate the possibility of rebirth and new beginnings. As we approach the end of the year, reflect on the miracles you have experienced and the lessons you have learned. What can you leave behind, and what do you want to grow next year? Just like Mary and Joseph, we have the opportunity to make choices that will impact not only our lives, but also the lives of those around us. So as we prepare for the new year, remember, each day is a chance to embrace the miracles that life offers us. May the light of Christmas illuminate your path, and may you be open to receiving all that God has in store for you. Reflections and new beginnings. As December says goodbye and the new year approaches, we are invited to deeply reflect on the journey we have taken. Christmas, with its lights and celebrations, is a constant reminder that even on the darkest nights, light can shine brightly. Have you ever stopped to think about how many blessings and challenges you have faced over the past few months? Each of them has shaped you, preparing you for what is to come. Imagine yourself as a traveler on a winding road, full of ups and downs, but always moving forward. Lived experiences, joys and sadness are like markers that teach us valuable lessons. And if we look back, what do we see? Moments of growth, overcoming, and perhaps some regrets. But the beauty of life is that we always have the opportunity to rewrite our story. Now, as we face the turn of the year, how about taking a pause to recognize everything you have achieved? Write down your victories and challenges overcome. Every step taken is proof of your strength and determination. But don't stop there. What do you want for next year? What dreams are still waiting to be realized? God offers us a new beginning every day. The story of Jesus reminds us that the extraordinary can come from the most unexpected places. Just as he was born in a stable, your dreams can also flourish in circumstances that seem unfavorable. It's time to look to the future with hope and determination. How can you prepare for this new journey? This is the ideal time to set goals and intentions. Make a list of what you want to achieve, but also include what you want to leave behind. What no longer serves you. What stops you from moving forward? By letting go of what doesn't bring you joy, you make room for the blessings to come. And remember, the journey may be long, but every little step counts. As the new year begins, may we remember the magic of rebirth. Just as the light of Christmas shines in our lives, may we be bearers of this light, spreading love and hope around us. Let's enter 2025 with hearts full of gratitude, ready to live each day as a gift. Therefore, reflect on what you want to cultivate in your life. May new beginnings blossom on your journey. Guided by the light of faith and hope, what does the next chapter hold for you? The story is just beginning, and you are its author.